What's going on, folks? Welcome to another episode of All Bass Creations, effects, tutorials, demos, and review. Glad all you guys can join me on the different platforms: Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitch. Appreciate all of you. So, let's see what we got here. Let's get on to some of these comments and things like that. What's going on, folks? Appreciate you chiming in. Feel free to chime in and ask questions. I'll be trying to answer as many of them as I can. I'm about to get right to that. That's exactly what we're getting to right this second. Appreciate that question. How do you assign the hold modifier on the Mercury X? And this works for not just the Mercury X, it works for the Enzo X and the LVX as well. So for the sake of it, simplicity, I'm gonna some stuff I'll be doing on bass, some stuff I'll be doing on keys. I'm actually gonna get rid of that. Let's see what we on. Let's go to channel 3. So first off, the hold you're hearing there that's actually the hold modifier being triggered by my MIDI captain. So on my MIDI captain here on the floor, I actually have it set up for the hold modifier on the Mercury X. Let me make sure I'm not misspeaking. Yep. So I have this hold modifier. So first off, you got to go into the menu, press the, let me get to the pedal board view so you guys can see a little better. So hopefully that's a good view for you all. Let me know. So I'm going to put my bass down. This is going to make my life a little easier trying to get this done. Eesh. And this will absolutely work the same for when you are playing your bass or your guitar or any of that stuff. So, few things first, just to note, I have the Enzo X and the Mercury X on running MIDI. So, you won't always see me touch the hold modifier button, but when you see these lights come on, you'll know it, and you'll hear the sound change as well. So, for instance, let's put this on 3. Let's go with this one. So I have the hold modifier on the Mercury X right now assigned. So you go to the modifier section and it'll be page 5. Page 5 of the menus. Go to the hold modifier. It'll say hold. I have it set for momentary. And you can also set the attack. So I can set the rate in which it decides to come on. And from here, you assign it to the, you have to have in the dynamic section, you have to have the freeze function for this particular use. It's assigned to the dynamic freeze. So that's not me sustaining anything else other than the modifiers on there. Check this one more time. 64 and 4. Matter of fact, I'm gonna bring my MIDI captain up here. That way I don't have to bend down somewhere. Let's see, 3, 4. And what is 4? See, I gotta break out my little sheet here so I can see exactly. I want to make sure I'm giving you guys accurate stuff here. So right now I have this particular foot switch. Assigned to the hold freeze function. On the Mercury X, also have it triggering the hold modifier on here. Actually, I have it triggering the expression pedal on the Enzo X. So this is why I said it's a lot of stuff you can do with them. So it's so many things you can do with them. I gotta kind of keep track of it because I already got a few things programmed into the MIDI captain, which is triggering things on the Enzo X and the Mercury X at the same time. And it's also triggered to sustain the keyboard when I want it to. But I have the keyboard, the EP sound you heard running from the motif across the room, and that's also MIDI'd up. So some of the things I have on these that you're hearing that's being held, let me just check the Enzo X and the Mercury X real quick. So, well, let's just start here. Let me go and start from the beginning because I don't want to confuse you guys. That's one of the things about these. They can be confusing. So the whole modifier switch here is basically on modifier. You go to the modifier section on the menu. Go to the fifth page of the modifier section. It'll be the whole section. The whole section is the whole modifier. You assign that to the freeze. If you also need dynamic freeze. And you can also come over to the expression pedal section. And what that is going to allow you to do in the expression pedal section, you can choose to either assign more parameters to any of the modifiers that you want. You don't have to just use all 6 slots for the expression pedal. You can also use them for the hold slot. Say if you wanted to assign 7 things to the hold modifier, you can do that. Just take the 1 slot in the hold in the modifier section, then come over to the expression pedal section, change the source, expression source, to hold, and then change that to whatever you may want it to do, from there. So if I wanted it to, if I press the expression pedal, if I wanted it to change the mix, I can. So now it's all wet versus here. If I wanted it to go all dry. I just set it to the decay of the reverb as well. Now it's no decay. modifier switch. And you can set the attack and decay of the modifier switch as well. If you go back to the modifier page 5, you can set the hold, which is the time it takes to kick completely on, the morph between the setting that you have saved and the setting that it's going to, or the minimum and the maximum rather of the setting. And you can set the time it takes to decay, which is go back to the minimum, you know. So let's see what we got here. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, these are quite extensive pedals. I won't say they're complicated. You know, it just makes it a little simpler when you understand one thing at a time. You know, it's when you get it and you're hearing all the sounds and you're trying to get to some crazier stuff. But I don't actually want that on the mix. I don't actually want that on there. So I want that back to none. I'm actually going to go back to here. And over on the Enzo X, I have the expression pedal tied to the release of the sound. So if I would like to say, if I wanted to sustain, if I wanted to turn that off, this is just the Enzo X. Now I'm getting longer sustain, which is more pad-like. I can also use the expression pedal to do it. So if I was just playing, now I got somewhat of a sustain pedal because I have the release tied to the expression pedal. So if you just go to the menu on the Enzo X, go to any of the expression pedal pages, assign that to the amp release, which is the amplitude, pretty much the envelope of the actual oscillators. And instead, you know, because I don't have an actual freeze function on there, I use the release function like a sustain pedal. So now I can have short or I can have longer, like I kicked on a sustain pedal. So, you know, that's one tip I would say. If you want more of an ability to have sustain versus quicker notes, even while you're playing like your bass and stuff, you can use it like a sustain pedal. Oh, sorry. So, you know, definitely works out for pads and stuff a little bit better with the longer release. And also have it tied to the attack as well. Somewhere on here. Is that this one? Well, let's go to a different setting on here because I know I have it on here. Certain chords, certain patches I have set. like this one. So this one I actually have the, not just the sustain, I have the attack as well. Oops, sorry. I have the attack. And I also have the attack of the filter as well, tied to the expression pedal setting there. So when I do press the expression pedal, I get a softer sound, not as attacky. So now when I got a slightly more attack on the envelope of the amplitude of the sound and the actual filter. Oh yeah, don't worry. I did a few videos. You know, it's still up on YouTube. You can always catch that MXR bass synth, video. There's plenty. I did plenty on that. But you're essentially turning this expression pedal into an sustain pedal, but it gives you different textures. So say I want to do, versus, or a pad. That plane versus. And like I said, the thing I love about the MIDI Captain, I now essentially, when I'm playing, say, the motif sound, the Mercury X, and the Enzo X at the same time, I now have the ability to have, on the MIDI Captain, I have the whole modifier switch attached to this, the expression on the Enzo X, and I have the sustain pedal of the Yamaha motif I have over there. I have all that on one foot switch of the MIDI Captain. So essentially, I have all these different parameters I'm controlling. I'm controlling the, with the expression pedal on here, the envelope of the release of the oscillators, the attack of the oscillator, and the attack of the filter, all tied to the expression pedal. And on here, I have the freeze function and, just the freeze function attached to the whole there. So now I kick this on. When I sustain the keyboard and I'm sustaining the Enzo X, I'm also freezing the Mercury X. And I still have control over each individual thing if I would like. I can also control, I have an expression pedal for the Mercury X, and I have a sustain pedal for the keyboard if I wanted to, say, sustain just the keyboard by itself. Or if I wanted to sustain just if I wanted the Enzo X sound to have a longer release. I can control that as well. So instead of having to hit a sustain pedal and expression pedal and the modifier switch all at once, I have it tied to the MIDI Captain, which allows me 6 parameters on one press. And on the release of that same foot switch is going to give me another 6 parameters I can do. So this one in particular only takes 3 different parameters. I have it set up so channel the Enzo X and the Motif are on channel 3, and the Mercury X is on channel 5 of MIDI channels. You know what I'm saying? So I just set all that up with the different correct CC messages. So for the Meris pedals, the whole modifier is going to be CC message 118. You know what I'm saying? That's something that I took the time to write a little list of the CC messages that I would need for different pedals, like so I wouldn't have to keep going through the manuals, you know, and that's definitely made my life a little easier. So when you're setting stuff up with the MIDI, definitely catch those CC messages. Now, if you want the expression pedal for the Meris pedals, that's going to be CC message number 4. And like I said, you just tie all that together on one foot switch of the MIDI captain, and it essentially becomes like a super sustain pedal. And it'll just sustain that. It's just gonna hold it there. So essentially, you know, I'm triggering 3 different things on MIDI. The sustain pedal, the expression pedal, and the whole modifier, all with one, press of a switch. Let me see what we got here. Definitely watch that later. Well, if in terms of synth pedals, you're gonna want the best bass synth pedal is going to be like just straight up bass. I mean, of course, the Enzo X does tremendous bass sounds, but it's more like modern. It's like this. The Future Impact V4 VIP is the best vintage bass synth. It's going to be the closest thing to the Moog, the ARP 2600 sounds and all that stuff, which I've duplicated a few Michael Jackson sounds down to the T with the Future Impact V4 VIP. The difference between that and the MXR bass synth is going to be a lot. I mean, like in terms of features, flexibility, things you can do with it. I can play other keyboards with the Future Impact V4 VIP. I can play my bass sound, my bass in here. It'll track my bass and then output that MIDI to whatever keyboard or whatever thing I want to play. And it has 4 MIDI in and out ports, so that makes a huge difference. Plus, you're getting 4 oscillators with 3 different waveforms on each oscillator that you can mix all 3 waveforms on any of the oscillators, even all 4 of them at once. So say if I wanted a triangle, square, and a saw wave mixed together, I can have that on one oscillator and then go to any of the other 3 and do different combinations of them and all that stuff. So this is the most flexible. Plus, you're going to get a great EQ and great filters, chorus, and all that stuff is in here as well. But the Enzo X is the best all-around bass. If I was going, first off, that's a hard decision. But the Future Impact definitely is going to get you all those heavy vintage sounds. If you want to create, anything, it's hard to beat the Future Impact when it comes to the monos bass synths. But the Enzo X kicks is nobody. There's nothing compared to the Enzo X that's out right now that allows you all the flexibility it allows you to do. Also, you can play the Future Impact with a keyboard as well. But the Enzo X pretty much is like a keyboard in a pedal, while the Future Impact is more like a vintage mono synth in a pedal. So I hope that helps some. Well, it's not that. It's that it's 2 different YouTube streams. There's a vertical stream and there's a horizontal stream. Then there's a Facebook stream and there's a There's a Twitch stream. All this is being streamed from the same Streamlab. So, you know, on it might be only showing what you're looking at might only be showing you the comments that are on the actual video live stream that you're catching, the exact one. But so that's just a few things you can do with them, with the modifiers. So let's go to some other stuff here. Now, even on my dry bass sound, like I love this the ring modulator in the Enzo X, and I love this particular this ring modulator. And even, you know, just to make some people happy. Let's see, let's get to here. And it sounds great on both sounds. And where this sound really, where that ring modulator really shines is on a patch like this one. Let me see what I got this set to. Might have it set to synth. Yeah, there we go. So that's the sound, you know, pretty much in a nutshell. And what it is pretty much the ring modulator being affected by the envelope of the sound. So when I play a sound, it's triggering the ring mod to go kind of crazy. So let's see what we got here. So it's got the frequency of the ring modulator tied to the envelope. So basically on here, the envelope is kind of, think of it like an envelope filter. It makes everything respond to your dynamics of your actual playing. So it takes it beyond just being a synth pedal, right? Oh, this is the sound I want. That ring modulator going crazy. So, you know, even without it, So it's all triggered by the notes that you're playing. Yeah, I'll get an LVX soon. I'll get an LVX for sure soon. Just haven't had a chance to grab one just yet. But yeah, definitely you'll see an LVX pop up on my pedal board real soon. So one of the biggest things is having it like that envelope when you want like envelope filters and stuff. I have you want to tie that frequency cutoff to the envelope modifier. So where we at? So just like a regular envelope filter. So I recommend doing it that way, like setting up the ADSR for the filter, how you want it, and then having the envelope modifier, which is number 4, page number 4 in there, the modifier number 4. That is going to give you the best results to give you that nice funk tone you're looking for. Even and you can change anything you want from there, you know. So that's how you would get the, like, use the envelope. You can use it to trigger frequencies or rates, you know what I'm saying? And on top of that, you can change, again, the attack and the decay of that. So how long it takes to kick on from the time you play that note to the time, and then how long it takes to return back down as well when you stop playing a note. And just a quick note, first off, what people never tell you about the Mercury X. The Mercury X is one of the best end of the line pedals you can have. First of all, you can do an entire gig with just the Mercury X. And nobody ever talks about that, especially when it comes to bass. Like, I have amazing preamps in the ToneX one. This is where the majority of my preamps come from and stuff like that. Which you can, if you want to support the channel, you can do that in the description. You know what I'm saying? You grab that ToneX signature bass collection from my link there. But if you come over, let me see. I don't know why I keep reaching for the pedal board when I have all my presets down here. Anyway, so say I wanted something that was going to really help, like this is just the Enzo X and Mercury X by themselves. So matter of fact, let's do this. Here's my bass sound first. Let's just give you my regular old bass sound. Easily finishes. Great basic bass sound there. You kick on the preamp, the Negus preamp setting I got on that joint. Give you a nice bass sound. And brings your sound forward with the beautiful, I'm doing parallel compression in there. So I'm using a compressor link where it's compressing each side, the left and the right side separately. And I had that at a 10-to-1 ratio running parallel, so like half wet, half dry. Then I got the op amp running on there, low gain. And then I have a high pass filter in the filter section, and that's pretty much it. But that's all you need when you just running, like say you running in the studio. Sound engineers will love that. Oh, he not doing it's sounds like my bass, but it's just a little bit more polished. They really won't have to do much to your sound from there, believe it or not. You know, and that makes it enhances anything you do run into it that way. Like if you wanted a whole bass signal chain, Empress compressor, I have a ToneX one running a JHS color box into a Aguilar AG preamp on the ToneX one, and then finished by that signal chain. Like I kind of look at it like this is like a signal chain for, bass. Or that signal chain there is actually super versatile. I run keys and everything through it. I don't really have to do much to it, but it works out great. But let me get my levels here together. So it just gets you right there to a great bass tone. You don't have to really work too hard to get it to. And so, you can completely bypass the pre-delay and the reverb section in the Mercury X and easily allow it to be, a drive pedal. It can be your modulation pedal. And, it also has, the dynamic section. It can be your freeze pedal, as well as your compressor, limiter. It's got a diffusion in the delay set in the dynamic section. And, you got this little hazy effect on the modulation section where you can pretty much get like an old tape type of sound, but use it as a modulation where you can have the warble. You can change the age of the tape, and you can even use it like a bit crusher to a certain extent. So things like that make these pedals worth a lot more. And I mean, high quality version of these. And like I said, you can have them triggered by things like the LFOs or all that different stuff. So let's go to something else. You can also use them as top tempos as well to hold modifiers. You can always go to that hold number 5, modifier number 5, have that set to to a top tempo or whatever. All right, so some other things that you got on here. So you got the top tempo, right? love that poly pattern. Set on it. So, see what we got here. Sorry, I gotta stand up. Sometimes it's harder to see the screen from over there. So one thing that helps is you can have 2 different LFOs set up on here too. That's something else that you can have rolling. So you can choose to have that LFO the same as the hole and the envelope modifiers. You can choose to have one thing tied to it, or you can have that LFO tied to the filter and, or whatever. I'm not going to say any particular parameter right there, but you can have it tied to one, then go over to the expression pedal section. Any free slots you got there, you got up to 6 of them. You can tie those different parameters back to the LFO A. And you got LFO B. So you get 2 LFOs that you can have running at any given time in the modifier sections and are tied to any parameter, whether it be the pitch of the pitch shifters, whether it be the mix of things. It can be the frequency of the filter, frequency of, say, a ring modulator. It can be changing the sample rate on the bit crusher. It can be doing anything, and it'll set it to a certain a particular LFO, and then the LFO is triggered by the global tempo, which you have there as the top tempo. So have them whole modifier set up for the top tempo, and then have the LFOs tied to whatever parameters from there that you will want. And the same thing, and like I said, you can have 2 different ones rolling, 2 different speeds. You can have a slow LFO and a fast LFO running. You know what I'm saying? And you can do things like, so that's the LFOs, the 2 LFOs you got there. And those just basically automate, to the tempo, pretty much. And then you have the sample and hold, which is like a random type of thing. So I'm going to set this filter to LFO 2. And we're going... And you got, let me go and put this bass back down real quick. Ain't no point in holding it. Turn that down. So let me get these keys out the way. So now I got the filter. I can change the type of waveform it's using. It doesn't have to be, this is a triangle. I can have it be a sine wave, square wave. In fact, we're going to go to a different sound, just a little more, be able to hear it a little better. That's LFO set to LFO, pitch of the oscillator 2. I can set it to a certain division, or I can turn that off and have it set to the hertz, different speeds. Have it attached to actual rhythmic value. And I can also control how much it's opening and closing, the direction. You know, if I want to change the direction, I just swap the minimum and maximum. So if I want it to open, I'll have the minimum from a lower value going to a higher value. If I want something to close, or, you know, I'll go from a higher value to a lower value. And, you know, higher value being the minimum in the minimum slot, and the higher value being in the LFOB maximum slot. So that's pretty much how the LFOs work. But say I wanted something a little bit more random, you know what I'm saying, and not so, you know, just straight ahead. I can assign that same thing, say, to the sample and hold, which is different, which is like a random type of thing. See, it's just randomly coming in whenever it feels like it. Let me see something a little bit different. Let's try that with something a little more obvious. So it's doing like random values for the pitch of that oscillator too. Something like this will probably better serve you with let's do something like the filter. And all this is just randomly happening. And that's the sample and hold modifier. So pretty much if you want like some randomness to your sound, that's a good place to do it. Let me see if I come over here to the mod section, the actual modulation section, and I put that on the ring mod, right? We're gonna put that on the sine wave ring mod. And we're gonna change that frequency of the ring mod to the sample and hold. So now it's just doing random values in there. And that's really useful when you don't want like a standard sound. You don't want to, you just want some randomness. And I can easily change that mix. See, now you're getting that real glitchy sound, and that'll go perfect with some with a little glitch delay. Just straight lo-fi glitchiness in there. Like, come on now. Like, that's fire. You can use that for whatever you want. And not only that, you can assign the same parameter to different modifiers. You don't even have to have, like, you can, and you know, whatever way those modifiers interact is just however they interact. So if I wanted even more, like a little bit of confusion in there, I can come back and put it on B as well. The modifier, which is crazy because now you're getting even more out there with your sound, you know what I'm saying? Because it's allowing you to do whatever your mind can think of. Like if I wanted to assign that to other parameters, I could, you know what I'm saying? And the only other modifier that's left that might need a little bit of explaining is the sequence section. So you got in the number 6 slot. So we're going to take this off of here. Put that back on none. Put this back on none as well. And then we come over here to modifier page number 7. No, 6. 6, and we can assign that same parameter, the mod frequency, which is the ring mod frequency. Now it's going to give you it based off of the LFO. Let me do this with the filter, actually. I'm going to turn it. That'll be better. Let me try to get some values in here. Makes sense. effect. Let's see. So you can hear the sequencer there running through the pattern that I had set up, you know, but just for the, I had to set for the pitch. So, you know, and I can have that set up, like I said, I can have that running the filter and that pitch if I wanted to. If I want to skip any of these steps, because it's up to 16 sequence steps, I can just turn them off. Like, all you got to do is turn it all the way to it says off, you know, basically. So say I only want see, I just turned it. So it's just, you know, the sequencer, and then it's, you know, that's easy to explain. And like I said, if you want to assign any of the those other parameters to that same thing, you just will go to the expression pedal section. Instead of having it set to the, it's a expression source, you can have it set to the aftertouch, meaning when you know, after you let it go, you can have it set to LFO-A, LFO-B, the S and H, which is the sample and hold, the random, just think of that as the random generator. The envelope, which is when you first play the note, when you play the note, it'll sense that you're playing it, and every time you play it, it'll trigger that reaction. And then you got the hold function. You can use these as additional hold slots, you know, parameters for the hold button. And the sequence. So if we go to sequence, and then let's go to filter. Let's see what we got here. I got any modulations on? Nope. I can also set like the resonance of that filter up there too. So anything I want to just do from there, I can easily get done. Yes, you can absolutely ask a question. What's going on, Auntie? Appreciate you on Facebook. But yeah, yeah, you can definitely feel free to ask any questions you guys got. You know what I'm saying on what I'm doing. So all I'm doing here is just basically the main thing I guess that's going to help you guys out. That kind of I didn't just getting into synth and things like this. I didn't really understand. You got to know which parameters to even assign. And which means you got to know what the parameters do, what they sound like, what's going on with them. Because one of the things I have to do in this situation is I have to already know, okay, I like to control the filter cutoffs or the filter sweeps. I like to control the modulation speed. And if the modulation is not based on a speed like that, I use like the ring modulator. I use the frequency and manipulate that with either an LFO if I want something steady. You know what I'm saying? If I want something random, I use the sample and hold. Like something glitchy sounding, just like, that's what I use the sample and hold for, that lo-fi glitchy sound. And then in terms of the modifiers, the envelope, I use that a lot of times for filters when I want that funkier feel. Like if I wanted to do more like a clavinet type sound. Let me see, I got something in here. Get you close. And as you hear, this filter's automated. Obviously tied to the LFO. So, having that tied to the LFO, that filter gives you that automatic filtering, like that, LFO motion. You don't have to keep doing this with the knob. It's just automated. Well, the B14 I don't know what analog pedals you have. I don't really, as you can see, I wouldn't worry about analog versus digital. Worry about what sounds good. You'll spend a lot of money buying a bunch of analog pedals when you could have just bought something like a Enzo X, for example, that's going to give you really top quality stuff and is going to give you a variety of it. And to be honest, you're not going to use that many varieties, of course. Like you're going to use detune and like a certain particular type of chorus sound. But once you find the sounds you pretty much use and how you use them, the everything on the Enzo X and the Mercury X is flexible enough where just those two pedals could be a pedal board, to be honest with you. But if you wanted something like that little cheaper side, not going to be as high quality, the MS-70CDR Plus will let you get a lot of the other sounds that you won't have on the B14, on the Zoom B14, and it'll be a better quality. I can also use the expression pedal. And, in terms of the Mercury, you can have the expression pedal set up to do a lot of different stuff as well. What is it? Number think it's this one. So I have it set up here. Let me get something that's not moving so much. This is the my Negus. This is my Negus Leslie sound, right? So I have the expression pedal for the Mercury set up for basically the modulation speed, and then I have the modulation as a tremolo. So quick moving tremolo. I'm changing the speed with the expression pedal. Slower speed, faster speed. So, little things like that, definitely, just being creative. It's almost like a Leslie sound at that point. Now you can really hear it. So, just understanding that how different things can affect the sound and give it extra movement. A lot of times you want to go for things that's going to either, sweep frequencies or pitch changes, like, showing you with the sequencer, or you want to do things like that where speed changes with the modulations. And you can do things like if you wanted to ramp up the gain on the drive, you can do that. And then what you would do, what I would recommend is if you want to ramp up the gain on the drive, as you do that, set up another parameter to decrease the overall volume of the drive. So as you increase the gain, like, it'll simultaneously bring down the volume at the same time. That's the purpose of having all these modifiers and expression pedal settings available to you. You can do really cool things like that where, you would have to, normally that would take two hands if you try to do it with your hands, you know what I'm saying? But doing it like that, you're going to get a lot done. You know what I'm saying? Without ever, and once it's set up, you ain't really got to do too much. Let me see. See if I can emulate that now. Let me see what I got in this drive section over here. This preamp section. Okay. So I'm going to increase the gain while simultaneously. So when I'm going faster, I want it to have more gain. So I'm going to set it up for, it's already set up for the modulation speed. Already set up for the modulation speed on there, or the tremolo, which is acting like my Leslie switch on an organ. And we're going to go to the preamp section, gain. We want to be able to add the gain there. We don't want it to go all the way to 100%. Let's say 70. We don't want it to go below 9%. And then we're going to set this, go to the next page, set up another parameter, expression pedal parameter to the level of that. And you want to flip these. Let's see, when it's minimum, I want it to be 100. And when it comes up to here, I only want it to come up to like 20. So let's see what we got. Some more gain on the bottom. Then we go max. And we want to give this more volume. I'm actually gonna say that. I actually like that. So, yeah, that's pretty much. You just experimenting with different parameters, and you just gotta know what you're going for with it. Like with the expression pedal, with the hold modifier on the Mercury X, I have it set to the freeze, and again, I have the brass section set to on the expression pedal on the Enzo X to give me sustain, give me release. and it's tied to the attack of the amp envelope, and it's attached to the attack of the filter. So I can do quick passages where it's like the, and I can do, as a matter of fact, I might, let me make sure I got that attached to the filter. I don't hear the filter's attack doing what I want it to do. So let me check. Oh, I forgot to put the filter on here. Filter attack. Much warmer sound then. With the sustain without it. Just makes it more usable for different things that way. You get plenty of those extra warm pads and stuff. Make sure I save that. But also can get the nice bright pads if I want. Like, and when you layer that with other sounds, like say you're doing production or you're writing, you can layer that with a nice EP. Controlling the expression pedal and the whole modifier. Let me see what I got going on. Yeah, I have this one set up different. So the okay, I know what I got. All right, so I got this whole modifier on the Enzo X setup to basically shift octaves when I wanted to, right? Right? So I essentially have it set up where one oscillator is both oscillators. Go up and down an octave. But I have the expression pedal on the Enzo X setup for the, all the release stuff. So the amp release, the amp attack, and the filter attack is on the expression pedal. So pitch shift on the whole modifier of the Enzo X, but on the expression pedal is the attack and release of the amp envelope, and the attack of the filter. So I think that's actually a kind of cool way to use it. The brighter part, use the upper octave. Then when I want the lower part, go back here for the pads and stuff. Like nice warm pad. And that's just controlling the Enzo X with the expression pedal and the whole modifier. Now, when you want to get extra fancy, you can freeze the Mercury X as well with the whole modifier. And that's actually, that particular parameter is actually controlling the foot switch. I mean, the expression pedal. I'm controlling the expression pedal of the Enzo X, the hold modifier of the Mercury X, and the sustain of the Yamaha motif. That's such a crazy sound like that you can do with this thing. But, and I still have my expression pedal over here for the Mercury X. That drive and the drive gain and volume. You know, remember, we're boosting the gain. We're bringing down the volume, the master volume of that drive. So even though we're getting more gain, we're not getting extra unnecessary volume. Maybe a little more volume, but not much. Just enough to kind of accentuate that tremolo effect. And I still... Really, if I wanted to, I can do all that from the MIDI captain, because I have that expression pedal set up to be triggered from the MIDI captain as well. Tremolo, gain, I can press them both at the same time. Press all three at once if I needed to. Let me get balanced here. This is a balancing act right here. Take these flip-flops off. controlling mad stuff with your feet at that point. And it's all due to the whole modifier and expression modifier, expression pedal settings in the Mercury X and the Enzo X. And that's literally me just controlling those two pedals. Between those two pedals, you got all the control you really need, you know what I'm saying, over any of the effects in there. You know what I'm saying? So that's the cool part. Stuff you need to sync up, you can just sync it up. You need it all on one LFO. You can do that. You can put 7 things on one LFO. That's just insane. You know what I'm saying? You won't be able to use any of the expression pedal stuff. You won't be able to use the expression pedal, but you'd have all 7 effects automated like that. So, and you can have it set up to MIDI clock out, you know what I'm saying? So it'll sync up with other devices doing stuff. The parameters are just super extensive in these Meris Series X pedals. Of course, I got to get an LVX. Like, that's not even a question. LVX is definitely on the way at some point. Like, and I still got my modulation wheel over here I can use as well. So I mean, these pedals are so musical. You would not be expecting a guitar pedal to be able to do, you know, guitar, bass, or whatever pedal to be able to do what these pedals can do. And, you know, I'm just super excited for the possibilities in the future. And this is just after I've spent a lot of time with the Meris pedals, and not a lot of time, about a year. Using the user interface, so I'm super familiar with it. You know, I would say the biggest thing would be to, with the Enzo X, if you want to create great synth sounds, turn everything off and start with the oscillators and just start building the sound from there. From there, understand how the filter works, understand the routing of the pedal and of the drives, you know, as well as the modulations, the modulate section, and the ambient section. The thing I haven't talked about today is the Enzo X definitely has a great ambient section, so it has a great stereo echo delay, and it has one of my favorite algorithm from the Mercury X, the prism. It has a small prism, medium prism, and a large prism. The large prism is my favorite reverb in there, and I can say that I absolutely love what they did with that. So all that's jam-packed into one pedal, you know what I'm saying? Now you get the Mercury X, it's not just a reverb pedal. And, let's go back to the Enzo X for a second. You can also use as an individual effects, you know what I'm saying? It has a great chorus. This is what I was saying before. If you get the right pedals, you don't have to get so many of them, you know, especially for bass. A lot of companies kind of just give you a bunch of guitar effects that work, you know, that they feel like work for bass. I don't really like that. The thing I love about the Enzo X is the chorus, like the actual individual effects. The chorus. sound, and that actual chorus setting sounds great on everything I've tried it on. Other instruments, keys, like EP, electric piano, like Rode type sounds. That actual setting I was able to create right there just kind of works for everything how I like chorus to sound, right? And I also always have the option to create a detune in there if I wanted to as well. But, then you got beautiful flanger. What's this? Oh, I'm sorry. I switched to it. It is spillover when you, on the Mercury X, it is spillover. You got to go into the menu. You got to turn the spillover on. It's not just on when you get it. Because I get spillover. I can show you in a second. So if you go to the globals page 1 on the Mercury X, you can actually change how long the spillover is. I have mine set for 5 seconds, but you can have anywhere from off to, you can have the spillover for 15 seconds, all the way up to 15 seconds. And I have mine set to 5. So let me see. This is one setting. And some of it is the actual settings of it, because coming from here, right? I switch patches there. That patch is still ringing out. Going from there, it's still ringing out. So I would say, it just depends on the settings. But yeah, if you want the spillover, you got to go into the menu, go to global 1, page 1, and it'll be right there for you on the right-hand side of the page. Hope that helps. But that flanger is nasty. The phaser's nasty. That's my dry bass with it. So even the phaser is just nasty work. Oh yeah, that's possible as well. I mean, they're constantly doing firmware updates and working on improving things as well. So, every digital pedal, I mean, I wouldn't even say digital. Most pedals have some glitch in there somewhere. Yeah, it's it really depends. Like, I mean, that's something that if that's happening with yours, I'm sure they have kind of figured that out, and they kind of, they'll work on the firmware as I'll pass that on to them. And you saying that's happening from when you're going from the short to the long reverbs. So I'll definitely check them out. Yeah, I know they did an update not too long ago on the firmware, so that may be something that you need to do as well. Update that firmware. Mine, I don't really have that problem with mine, but if let me know. Like if you catch me on another live, let me know if that's still a problem, and if it is, I'll pass it on to them. I'm in, so. But man, just the modulation section on the Enzo X is as well as the modulation section on the Mercury X is pretty good as well. So I like the Enzo X modulation section for just normal bass sounds. Like it definitely like that. Just your normal bass sounds. Those type, it's just a regular old bass sounds, modulations. The chorus, the flanger, the phaser in there is just, they're hard to beat with any pedal, not just multi-effects pedal. That's what I love about these Meris pedals. The individual effects are hard to beat by themselves, even though the pedal isn't intended to be a chorus pedal, intended to be a phaser or a flanger. Those effects in there, even the drives, like if I was to go to the drive section, I don't think I have any set up already, but it ain't hard to get going. Let's go. I like the op amp the most, but for overdrive, I'd say you got the big crusher. That's the op amp. Then you got tube amp as well. And this is with the gain all the way up, by the way. It's you can go in between here and kind of a cleaner sound as well for these. If I was going for a cleaner sound. That was the transistor. Here's the tube. And mind you, that's with no dry signal in there. You're still actually getting a decent amount of bass coming through there, but you can always have that tied up with the actual dry signal and mix it to taste, And the thing I like about it, they included 3 different, they also have a volume pedal in there as well, but So the tube drive emphasizes the high frequencies. The transistor drive emphasizes the mids, and the op amp kind of, for me, emphasizes the low end a little bit more, which definitely, allows that low end, or at least allows the low end to come through a little more than the other two. So I really like the op amp for bass in general, and it's on the Mercury X as well. I use that on, if I'm gonna use any drive, it's probably gonna be that one if it's a bass sound, you know what I'm saying? Because I use it even as a preamp sound, like with the gain really low, master volume all the way up, and that's what I'm actually using on the Mercury X to get it to have that nice characteristic sound there. And if I want to, I can just EQ from my bass and really get all the. I mean, that thing just sounds nice and warm. So it just depends on what sounds you're going for, what textures, but you can literally have the Mercury X at the end. The Mercury X took the Atlas compressor, Source Audio Atlas compressor off of my board because it's already a stereo compressor and limiter, and it's studio quality still. And then when I want some coloring, what I was using was the LA2A on, so I would use a 1176 running into a LA2A compressor and the Source Audio Atlas compressor. I now switched to using the Mercury X as my end of my signal chain type thing. Here's my the op amp, high pass filter, and the compressor link. So stereo compressor on there. So definitely tightens up your sound. Even as a bass player, the Mercury X. That's why I said even the compressions are comparable with studio rack compressors, and like with the sound of them and the functionality of them, and it's really transparent. Other than it, doing the actual compression thing, it's not really coloring your sound. That's why I added the op amp that adds a little bit of saturation in there, and the high pass filter just filters out some of the sub low frequencies I really don't need in there. That are really, stuff that just muddies up your mix or makes your speakers work harder. No, I'm not using side chain on the Empress compressor. I don't feel the need to. Only time I would need the side chain is if I was would be when I'm in the actual computer, like after I recorded everything, I might side chain the compressor to the kick drum, but in real life on stage, I'm not running an extra thing to the kick drum. It's not gonna happen. Yeah, I tell you now, the Mercury X. Only reason this HX1 is still here is because I haven't got an LVX yet. But technically, I was using the HX1 and the TC Electronic Plethora X1 as my reverbs. Then I got the Mercury X, and those is out the door. So that actually really the Mercury X replaced the HX1, the Plethora X1, and the Zoom MS-70 CDR off of my pedal board. You know what I'm saying? And what else it replaced? It also replaced the MXR layers. So it took the MXR layers off my board. Also, the Electro Harmonics blurs and the Electro Harmonics bassballs filters and the MXR envelope filter. Took the Spectra comp off my board as well. What else? Yeah. So it pretty much replaced all of those pedals by itself. You know, I would say between that and the Enzo X. Enzo X replaced the more so the modulations I was using between the Plethora X1 and the MS-70 CDR Plus. You know what I'm saying? And it became this just monstrous, amazing synth pedal and started me on my real ambient journey, I guess. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, sidechaining is more studio than it is for live applications, to be honest. Like you'll get more out of it in the studio than you would live. But yeah, and as well as the Enzo X having that ring modulator and that bit crusher definitely was something that that I love about these pedals, and the fact that I now have two really high quality effects like that versus I had them on the Zoom MS-70 CDR Plus, but the ones on the Enzo X are much higher quality than the ones on the Zoom. You know, I don't know what they did in these Meris pedals, but they got it right, and it's nice. Like everything sounds really good. I even able to create like horn type sounds like that, where it really, really get you in that horn territory. It's almost like between a brass section and a saxophone, but like if you start using expression pedal to control those things, it makes it much softer. Crazy part, it just hold that joint. Like, even as a reverb pedal, the freeze is nasty. And it's because you can use it in combination with different stuff. And you can also have it freeze different stuff. It doesn't have to freeze the reverb. It can freeze your dry sound. It can freeze the delay, the pre-delay part of the sound, which is really like a delay section. And it can freeze the actual reverb section. Let me see. I'm curious to see how much that affects it. So we're here in the freeze section. Right now we got it in the post position. Here's the pre and delay. Here's it by itself. It's literally holding it. Then you can have it in the pre-delay section or the feedback loop. See what it sounds like in the feedback loop. See, whole different feel. That's in the feedback loop, which is like the delay. Like you holding a delay, essentially. And then you have the pre-tank, which is right. Oh, so that was in the feedback loop, rather. This is in the pre-tank, so this is like sustaining like the actual delay. The one before is like putting the freezing, and it running through a feedback loop over and over again. So slightly different. See different sounds too. So not only can you get a freeze function, you can use that freeze function for different things, and you can also use it for the reverb post. Now it's taking everything together in the wet signal and freezing it. So again, so that's much more of an atmospheric sound. Mind you, reverb and everything's still active. This is a feedback loop. A little more present. And then here's the dry sound, pre-delay. So just even having the flexibility to put the freeze in different places, definitely helped it replace things like the MXR layers, because the MXR layers is pretty much like it's like a less skilled brother of the Mercury X somehow. Like it has the delay. A chord. It has delay as well, and it has chorus and tremolo, and then it has like this diffusion part of it. So you can get a similar sound to that freeze minus the reverb part with MXR layers, but you won't have the ability to just put it in different places within the signal path. You know what I'm saying? Compared to the freeze algorithm that's in here, you can put it in the pre and dry, on the pre and dry signal. You can put it in the feedback loop. You can put it in the pre-tank slot, and you can also put it in the post slot. And that they all sound slightly different. So that's something that is really incredible. I definitely appreciate you. You ain't got to worry about it because I'm actually about to get off, but I definitely appreciate you hanging with me. Make sure if you haven't already, subscribe. I definitely appreciate you hanging out asking questions and participating. You know, definitely means a lot. And yeah, I've bought this board over years, you know, over time. So, you know, it been some big money, but that joint been stretched out. You know what I'm saying? So I stretch it out over the years. You know, I don't buy it all at once. You know, I had that Mel 9 since it came out. You know, I had this Hog 2 since it came out as well. You know, so I stretch it out and I keep the good pedals. Hopefully my Pog 3 will be back from Electro Harmonics soon. It froze on the startup page and wouldn't do anything else. So I had to send it to Electro Harmonics just to have them reset the pedal. So I do have a Pog 3 coming back soon. So this Hog 2 would be off here. But yeah, I stretch it out. Hog 2 still is an amazing octave pedal, so it's hard to beat now. Only thing that beats the Hog 2 would be a Pog 3, you know what I'm saying, for real. So, I don't use no Sweetwater account. I buy my stuff cash. I'm a cash type of person. You know, I just buy it when I have the money. If I don't have the money, I don't buy it, you know, and that saves me trouble too. Keep me out of trouble, you feel me, because you know, hey, it keeps me in good standings. But I would recommend, you know, just buying it when you can. You know, if you want to use credit, you can. But you know, just they ain't really reporting, so it ain't really helping your credit none. So I mean, Sweetwater is cool though. I don't have a problem with Sweetwater at all. You know, I buy stuff from them as well. But you know. Y'all ain't getting all my money. You start putting stuff on credit, you be getting that extra stuff you don't need. You feel me? If you got to buy it cash, you only gonna get what you need. Okay, so but yeah, I definitely appreciate you hanging out with me. It means a lot to me. I promise you, it means a lot. And hopefully, you guys have already hit the like button. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit that for me. Subscribe. Thank you guys that have subscribed, and shout out to the Patreon subscribers and you know people that have bought the preset packs that are available on the Patreon. I got preset packs for the Enzo X, the Future Impact V4 VIP. Got 11 different preamp packs available for the ToneX 1. Packs for the Zoom MS-70 CDR Plus, the MS-60B Plus, the Zoom B6. And you can also find the Source Audio C4 synth pack on there as well. Let me see if I got anything else on there. Yeah, that's pretty much all the packs I have out right now. I'm going to come out with some new ToneX 1 packs as well. So stay tuned for that. And I'm going to come out with a Mercury X pack. So if you want my settings for the Mercury X and you don't want to have to set up all these modifiers and expression pedal stuff, it's already going to be set up the exact way I was explaining to you guys, and with various patches, you know, different parameters that are necessary. It's already going to be set up. You ain't got to guess and experiment and try to figure it out. You can just buy it and have it instantly. So, you know, I'm working on that diligently. And like I said, the Enzo X pack is already out. I'm probably going to release another Enzo X pack that's going to include all these individual effects and like all my settings for my bass effects, you know, that I'm using on there. So stay tuned for all that stuff. You know, if you want to check out my music, allbasscreations.bandcamp.com. I got an album I did there with just my bass and effects with no MIDI, just my bass, and using effects, I turned it into different sounds, including drum sounds. So it sounds like a full album, like a full band, got drum parts, but it's all bass and effects. So check that out on allbasscreations.bandcamp, as well as my singles, couple singles on there. I played everything, wrote everything, recorded it, mixed it, mastered it, and everything, and put it out myself. So check out all that stuff on the allbasscreations.bandcamp, and I will catch you guys later. Thank you so much for the support. It means a lot to me. All right, I'll catch you guys later. Peace.